Pablo zipped through the water with Marina and the dolls racing after him. Grace and Marina followed him easily, but Emily and Layla lagged behind, breathless. The little penguin was so fast. Pablo led them up to a wall of black rock. When she looked at it closely, Layla noticed a narrow opening. "This way, ladies, if you please," Pablo said, doing his funny little bow, then speeding through the gap. Layla laughed as she swam through the crevice and felt a burst of bubbles pop up her face. "Mermaid magic," Grace murmured as she came through the gap after her. The bubbles tipped their wall hidden from human eyes. Once they were all through, they followed Pablo up to the surface. Layla put her wet hair out of her eyes and blinked in the sunshine. They were in a huge lagoon surrounded by black rock and filled with turquoise water. At one end of the lagoon, the water was much lighter, and the girls could see a crescent-shaped beach. Sitting on the sand with her tail in the water was a beautiful older mermaid with white hair and a dark green tail. Gathered around her were a crowd of baby penguins, flapping their flippers and splashing happily. "Welcome to the penguin paddling pool," Pablo said, leading them over to the beach. "The shallow end of the lagoon is the perfect place for the youngsters to learn to swim." "Look at the baby penguins," Layla squealed as they swam closer. "They are tiny," Grace said. "Galapagos penguins are the second smallest type of penguins." Emily told the others, "I watched a documentary on them once. The baby chicks were light gray instead of black like Pablo, and they had white speckled tummies. They were so sweet." The girls swam into the paddling pool. There the water was so shallow that the girls could sit down on the sandy floor. "It's like we're in the bath," Layla said with a giggle. "Hello, I am Amaya," the older mermaid said. The penguin chick was on her lap, and two others were trying to climb over her tail. "Get down, Felipe. Pearl Darwin, behave," Amaya scolded them. "You look like you've got your fins full," Marina choked. "I have," Amaya said. Layla glanced at her friends. She knew they were thinking the same thing she was. "Do you need some help?" she asked. "That would be amazing," Amaya said. "I have so many students at the moment." "We'd love to help," Emily said with a smile. "Just tell us what to do," Grace added. "We are at your command, Amaya." Pablo flapped his flippers. "Why, I remember coming here as a tiny chick." Amaya grinned. "You were one of the fastest learners we ever had." Pablo fluffed up his feathers proudly. "Once their feathers are waterproof, we teach the baby penguins how to swim here in the lagoons," Amaya explained. "It's much safer than being out in the open ocean, where predators could eat them. It's really important that they can swim so that they can find food and so they don't get too hot. Could you look after the youngest penguin here in the shallows?" Amaya asked the sea keepers. "Then Marina, Pablo, and I can go a bit deeper with the ones who are almost ready to go out into the ocean." "I'll show them how it's done," Pablo called. Then he disappeared underwater. Marina swam after him. "Speckles, Babble, and Peep, you stay behind with the girls," Amaya said. "Everyone else follow me." She shuffled on her bottom into the water, then dived neatly under the surface. All but 3 of the baby penguins followed her in. Layla watched them go, then turned to her friends. The 3 baby penguins who had been left behind clustered together on the beach, staring at the girls curiously. "I'm Layla. "This is Emily and Grace," said Layla. A very speckled grey penguin chick waddled over to her and pecked at the end of her plate. Layla giggled and reached out to tickle the penguin's soft belly. "Let me guess, are you Speckles?" she asked. "How did you know?" Speckles gasped. "Because of your tummy, obviously," the biggest chick said. "That's Pete," he said, pointing to the smallest penguin with his flippers. "And I am Pebble. I can almost swim already." "Ooh, why don't you show me?" Grace suggested. "I love swimming." Pebble splashed into the shallow water, and they swam around the paddling pool. Grace watched the penguin chick protectively. "I don't like swimming," Pip said shyly. "We can just watch," Emily told him. She put herself on the beach, where Amaya had been sitting before, and the little penguin hopped on her lap gratefully. Speckles pecked Layla's plate again. "I can hold my breath for ages." "Want to see?" she asked. "Ooh, yes, please." Layla took her. Speckles dug in air until her cheeks was puffed out. Then she dug underwater and curled her chubby penguin body up into a ball. There was a cloud of bubbles, and then the little penguin popped back up, looking very pleased with herself. "Did you see?" she asked. "It was brilliant," Layla said, clapping her hands. Soon they were all having fun. Grace and Pebble were speeding through the water having a race, and Emily and Pip cheered as Speckles and Layla played games together. "Splash attack!" Speckles cried, splashing water at Layla. "Hey!" Layla said, laughing as water droplets sputtered in the air. Just then Grace and Pebble popped up next to them, breathless and excited. "You are pretty fast," Pebble said. "Not as fast as you," Grace said admiringly. "Let's show Pip that the water's fun," Layla suggested. Grace and Pebble nodded, and they all swam over to the beach. "Come for a swim," Grace called. Pip shook his head. "Come on, don't be a baby," Pebble told him. "It's okay," Emily reassured the little penguin, stroking his feathers. "Everyone is scared when they try something new. But I'll help you, I promise." "The water's lovely," Layla said. "Lovely, is it?" came a voice from nearby. "Well, not for much longer." The girls turned to see a mermaid with midnight blue hair and dark purple tail pulling herself onto a rock out in the deeper water. At the base of the rock, a strange-looking fish poked his head out of the water. He had light hanging over his face and an ugly toothy grin. Pip gave a squawk of alarm, and Peter pattered across the sand to hide behind some rocks, leaving a trail of wet footprints behind him. Layla gasped. Pip was right to be scared. It was Effluvia and her nasty pet anglerfish Fang. "You better hide too," she told her other penguins in a low voice. She didn't know what Effluvia was going to do, but it was sure to cause trouble. Speckles and Pebble waddled out of the water, and Emily swam over to Layla and Grace, reaching out for their hands. Whatever Effluvia had planned, the Sea Keeper would face it together. Effluvia gave a mocking laugh as the tiny penguins trembled over the rocks. "Tell me, do you like Audrey?" she asked them sweetly. The little penguins turned at the sound of Effluvia's voice, and Layla shuddered. The siren's beautiful voice was her most dangerous weapon. All mermaids sang songs to do magic, but Effluvia's singing would enchant you to do whatever she wanted. The girls had almost been tricked by her voice before. "What's Aude?" Layla whispered to Emily. "It's a plant, like seaweed," Emily whispered back. "Lots of sea creatures eat it because it's very nutritious." "Nutritious, is it?" Afluvia said, overhearing. "Then you won't mind having more of it, will you?" Laughing, she spread her arms wide and opened her mouth to sing. "Cover your ears," Layla yelled. The penguins covered their heads with their flippers while the doves covered their ears. Afluvia sang in a low voice that got higher and higher, echoing around the lagoon's rocky black walls. Siren magic sent a flood of toxic algae red as blood. The doves gasped as red algae started to appear at the edge of the lagoon, where the penguins learned how to swim. It started in the shallow water by the beach, then spread fast, turning the light blue water dark red. Layla, Emily, and Grace stared in horror as the algae blossomed through the water all around them. "Bye-bye, penguin paddling pool," Aluvia sneered. "My algae won't stop spreading until the whole lagoon is covered."